Hello everyone and welcome to the prestigious National Historic Ships UK 2022 Awards. This annual occasion is something we all look forward to. It's a chance to find out more about our extraordinary maritime heritage and celebrate the achievements of those who work so hard to keep Britain's historic vessels alive. The ceremony is brought to you from the Historic Dockyard Chatham in Kent, hosted by Hannah Cunliffe, Director of National Historic Ships UK, and Ash Faire-Ring, the young preservationist who took on a vessel conservation project at the age of just 17. They're waiting to share with you some insightful views of the dockyard and a close look at one of the world's largest collection of model ships, as well as revealing tonight's worthy winners. So charge your glasses, test your sea legs, and allow us to transport you to the dockyard where they once built mighty ships that mastered the world's oceans.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Hannah Cunliffe.
And I'm Ash Faire-Ring.
And this is the 2022 National Historic Ships Awards.
Coming to you live from the Historic Dockyard Chatham.
A huge welcome to you all, and thanks for joining me and Ash as we celebrate achievements across the historic vessel sector here tonight in Chatham.
It's going to be a great evening. We've got some fantastic entries to share with you. And for the first time ever, we're also hosting our very own watch party right in the centre of Chatham at the Commissioner's House.
You can join in the fun and interact with our audience throughout the event by Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. And don't forget to use tonight's hashtag, which is up on the screen now.
Hannah and I have visited the dockyard several times over the last few months to capture the footage we're sharing with you tonight. I can't wait to get started, but first let's hear from Richard Mosley, Chief Executive of the site.
Good evening everyone, I'm Richard Mosley and I'm the Chief Executive of the Chatham Historic Dockyard Trust. We're a preservation and learning charity that was formed in 1984 following the closure of the Royal Dockyard at Chatham as an active naval base. The Historic Dockyard Chatham is an award-winning mixed-use heritage site. We're a leading independent museum and visitor attraction, a commercial business estate, a residential community, a university campus, filming location, and even a commercial rope maker. Rope continues to be manufactured today using our traditional methods on our Georgian rope walk. I'm delighted to be hosting this year's National Historic Ships Awards and to be launching the Historic Dockyard Chatham as a Shipshape Network Hub. I hope you enjoy watching. If you like what you see, please do come and visit us yourself to find out more.
So first up, it's the Flagship Awards, and I'm super excited to be here on HMS Gannet, one of only 200 vessels in the National Historic Fleet, to announce this year's winners.
Flagships are craft chosen from the National Register of Historic Vessels to represent maritime heritage based on their cruising programmes, visitor numbers or seasonal activity. They get a broad pennant to fly at the masthead, a certificate and a small grant. And after our Flagship Awards went virtual during COVID, it's been great to see lots of operational craft applying again.
I'm thrilled to announce that the first Flagship Award goes to the car ferry MV Glenhulish from the Isle of Skye for her event plan, media output and visitor numbers of over 35,000 a year.
I'm Jo Crawford, the General Manager of the Isle of Skye Ferry Community Interest Company. We own and operate the MV Glenhulish, which is the last of its kind in existence, the last manually operated turntable ferry in the world. And we operate between Glenelg on the mainland and a narrow crossing over to the Isle of Skye, the closest point between the two land masses, part of a historic drover's route as well. We employ 10% of the local population, which make us really a very important community asset. We're delighted to have been awarded Operational Flagship of the Year by National Historic Ships, and we plan to make a massive fuss about that through social media and by holding events and producing a little book that will explain all of the work that's gone into restoring this wonderful vessel.
Hello, my name is Hugh Banting. I'm the skipper engineer for the MV Glenhulish. I joined the company nearly 15 years ago, and the community had just acquired the ferry. She was in quite a bad way, but over the years, with a lot of hard work and generous contributions, to be honest, we managed to restore her to comply with the way she was built, and also, of course, modern safety standards. I don't think there's a single part of the ferry now that hasn't been addressed, either new metal or refurbished parts. We are very proud of the fact that we are now a historic vessel, and all the hard work to restore her is well worth it.
The next award goes to the passenger vessel Princess Marina on the River Thames at Reading for the team's creative approach to working with national historic ships, which included developing a series of special historic vessel cruises to showcase Princess Marina's unique history.
Princess Marina, being voted Flagship of the Year, is a wonderful, wonderful accolade for this vessel, and we're just custodians of the vessel, and in its long life, being built in 1928, she has seen many sort of guises. She operated originally from Great Yarmouth, and then she went up to Bridlington and operated on cruises around the harbour there. And then during the war, she was used again at Great Yarmouth as a vessel that was a guard boat. And then eventually came back to the Thames, operating at the Festival of Britain. And eventually we bought her from where she operated at Kingston, and we converted her to, or tried to convert her to what period she came from, the 1920s. And she's now running quite successfully up here with small parties and doing regular cruises. And during this season of being the Flagship, we're hoping to put on very many exploring trips. Many of these will probably happen early next year because the season is coming to an end as such, but we hope to put a couple on during September and perhaps even October, but really it will be starting again in the sort of March onwards. So we're really looking forward to celebrating the fact that Princess Marina has been awarded Flagship of the Year 2022.
The third award goes to the landing craft Foxtrot 8, based at Boathouse 4 in Portsmouth, for a great public engagement plan in a year which also marked the 40th anniversary of the Falklands conflict.
I'm Diggory Rose, I'm boatkeeper for Portsmouth Naval Base Property Trust and responsible for Foxtrot 8, one of this year's National Historic Ships Operational Flagships 2022.
So now that we're headed off, I might as well tell you a bit about the history of this vessel here. So to start off with, this type of landing craft here is what will be known as LCVP Mark II, or Landing Craft Vehicle Personnel. It was built around 1964-65 down in Port, where upon its completion it was then attached to HMS Fearless.
Okay, so Foxtrot 8 is all about kinetic interpretation. You can look at things in a museum, or better still to ride on them and actually experience that visceral, kinetic energy of being out afloat on the water. And Foxtrot 8 does this every day, 20-minute rides, 5 times a day, every day of the summer months. We deliberately keep it down to £10 a head, The idea is that we get as many people as possible to experience this. What better way to interpret the modern Royal Navy than in a piece of naval heritage? So the Club is just very proud to be nominated to have one of this year's operational flagships, particularly as this year is the 40th anniversary of the Falklands conflict, a period of time that was very important to the history of this vessel. Behind us as well is HMS Bristol. And whatever happens with the modern Navy, whichever ships are in, whichever the ships the visitors can see, our trips always come up to see HMS Bristol because she's the other last survivor of that conflict. So as we come to the end of our little journey around the harbour, we have to think about the fact that F8 may not be as glamorous as MGB-81, for example, or perhaps as evidently historical as the Warrior or the Vic. But we think that she's a very important part of our history. She's a hugely important part of Portsmouth's maritime history, and we're very, very proud to be an NHS flagship in 2022.
The final Flagship Award for 2022 is for virtual activities, and it goes to the fishing trawler Arctic Corsair in Hull for clever use of technology in creating digital resources.
Hello and welcome to the National Historic Ships Virtual Flagship of the Year, the Arctic Corsair. My name is Malcolm Dunn and I am the Audience and Engagement Manager for the Hull Maritime Project, a project jointly funded by the National Lottery Heritage Fund and Hull City Council. As you can see, the vessel is currently undergoing restoration work here at Dunstan's shipyard in Hull, ahead of her move to her new visitor centre and dry dock at the North End shipyard on the River Hull. The Arctic Corsair is the sole survivor of Hull's distant water sidewinder fishing fleet. Built in 1960 in Beverley, East Yorkshire by Cook, Welton and Gemmell, the Arctic Corsair carries the distinction of breaking the world record for landing the greatest weight of cod and herring from the White Sea. Following its purchase by Hull City Council in 1993, the Arctic Corsair was moored on the River Hull as part of the museum's quarter and was conserved as a visitor attraction. As a result of the ongoing work, the Arctic Corsair has been closed to the public since 2019. In response to the challenges posed by COVID-19, we have developed a set of virtual learning resources which have enabled us to continue engaging local people and schools with the vessel's history. For example, we worked with a local actor to research and film a series of 4 videos which are set on board the Arctic Corsair. Viewers are introduced to key areas of the vessel, such as the wheelhouse, and gain an understanding of the experience of Hull's trawlermen during a typical trip. In addition, we've also created a virtual model for primary schools titled On Board the Arctic Corsair, in which an architectural model is used to give pupils a virtual tour of the Arctic Corsair. These resources will continue to be utilised by schools across the region and will form a legacy of the project well into the future. So thanks for watching, and thank you to National Historic Ships for this wonderful honour.
And now I'm sure you've all spotted the conning tower behind me. That is HMS Ocelot, which has been on display at Chatham since 1992. She celebrated her 60th birthday this year and is a must-see attraction. Unfortunately, I'm not sure there's space on board for us both. So, Ash?
I've always wanted to go on a submarine. There's definitely only room for one of us down here. HMS Ocelot is an Oberon-class submarine and was the last Royal Navy warship built in Chatham. She sailed over 90,000 miles during her working life, including secret Cold War missions. I can't even imagine what it must have been like to have been a crew member on board this incredible submarine. She's been conserved and is open to the public in her own dry dock, which is exactly what the winner of this year's Martin Heighton Award also wants to do. This award is for a vessel project which closely follows the National Historic Ships conservation principles set down by the previous director, Martin Heighton. There were some strong contenders, but the 2022 award for excellence in maritime conservation goes to the Unicorn Preservation Society for their impressive work to understand the ship through structural analysis, laser and photogrammetry surveys.
The Unicorn Preservation Society is delighted to have been awarded the Excellence in Maritime Conservation Award for the work that we've done in surveying HMS Unicorn. HMS Unicorn is 200 years old in 2024 and is in need of a lot of interventive conservation work. However, in line with the NHS UK principles of conservation, we recognise that preparatory work is essential before undertaking interventive work. With that in mind, over a period of 3 years, the Unicorn Preservation Society managed to raise a 6-figure sum of money to procure professional services to undertake the most complete survey of the ship in the ship's entire lifetime. This includes laser and 3D photogrammetry surveys, a complete timber survey of every accessible timber on the ship, and a structural analysis, which combines those two data sets into a third data set that gives us a computerized model of the stresses and strains in the ship and allows us to see what is in most need of addressing. We're delighted to have won this award because we feel that it legitimizes our approach and it gives us the confidence to know that we have approached it in a correct manner. So thank you very much to National Historic Ships UK, and we hope to welcome you aboard on celebratory days in 2024 when we celebrate our 200th anniversary.
Ash isn't the only one getting a chance to explore. While he's looking at the submarine, I'm going to take you inside Number 1 Smithery, home to a fascinating collection of exhibits, but most importantly, a storage facility for over 4,000 ship models. We're lucky enough to be having a special tour of this collection with ship curator Simon Stevens from Royal Museums Greenwich, who is also a member of our own Council of Experts. Hello Simon, good to see you. Thanks for letting us look round. And first of all, can you tell me more about the building we're in now?
Okay, so this building was originally used as a smithery for metalworking within the dockyard and dates from about 1801. It was the last semi-derelict building on site in need of refurbishment, and at the same time the National Maritime Museum was looking for a venue to build a state-of-the-art ship model store, and Chatham wanted to get this building restored. We and our other partner, the Imperial War Museum, joined Chatham Historic Dockyard Trust, resulting in the facility we're in now. It took 2 years to build at a cost of £13 million, and once completed it took us about 6 months to move the model collection in.
So what are the origins of the collection?
The National Ship Model Collection was founded by Sir Robert Seppings, who was Surveyor of the Navy in the mid-1820s, and it was originally located in the model room at Somerset House on the Strand in London. In 1864 the collection was moved to the newly created School of Naval Architecture at South Kensington Museum, which was built on the proceeds of the Great Exhibition of 1851. The maritime collections were then moved to the Royal Naval Museum in 1873, and then from there the models were moved to the National Maritime Museum in 1934. It's thought to be the largest ship model collection in the world, numbering over 4,500 ship models, the earliest being a model of an Egyptian funerary barge dating from 1800 BC right the way through to a modern container ship, the world's largest container ship last year, launched in 2021.
And why were ship models made?
They were made for a whole number of reasons really. Amateur model makers, designs, proposals, models for patents. When you registered a patent you needed a scale model and a scale drawing. So for a whole raft of reasons.
So Simon, tell me how the models in the collection relate to vessels on the National Historic Ships Register.
Well, because we've got such a broad, large collection of models, there are a number of them that are represent ships on the fleet as well. I mean, this is a great example here. This is a model of the Authentic that was made in 1883 by a chap called Hodgson, and it won a gold medal at the International Fisheries Exhibition in 1883. And it's a typical sailing trawler, two-masted, and you can see on the one side it's fully planked and on the other side it's got the open frames. So these are the sort of detailed scale models that really help people to understand the ships that they own or they're researching in a three-dimensional form, as opposed to a two-dimensional ship's plan or a photograph. We've got a lovely group of models in the collection that illustrate the history of lifeboats, right the way from the earliest lifeboat by Henry Grayted of 1790 through the 19th century. Lovely example here of a Norfolk and Suffolk class lifeboat through into the 1970s. It's a really interesting group, models built at scale with a lot of detail and used for various purposes as well.
Yeah, that's a lovely model, and actually that's really representative because we've got lifeboats of all classes on the national registers. In fact, I think we've got 143 lifeboats.
Wow.
Because at the moment we're going through an assessment process of those lifeboats. We're scoring them against a scoring system, and so models like this are a fantastic way to understand and interpret them.
And we've got this amazing model here of a deep water trawler from Hull. The Princess Elizabeth, 1960, and it's a large-scale model because it was used for teaching, for the cadets to go to sea. It's all compartmentised, everything's labelled up, and I believe it's similar to a ship that's on the register, the Arctic Corsair. So again, it's a fantastic resource that one can use as a reference piece in terms of research, illustration, and how a vessel actually functions at sea. So.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, Arctic Corsair is actually our virtual flagship of the year for 2022. So wonderful to see a model along her lines. And she's also part of the Hull Maritime project, which is a £30 million project involving her and also a light vessel, in fact, being reinterpreted and put out for public display in static preservation.
Oh,
so,
fantastic.
Yeah, exciting times
Yeah.
up in Hull. And fantastic level of detail.
It's in incredible detail. I mean, especially for a training model, that's what you need. And then a builder's model over there, which would have been made by the yard that built the ship and presented to the owners or acquired by the owners for publicity purchase. So 2 different models, different uses. Right, so I want to quickly show you this, Hannah. This is one of our earliest Navy Bull models from about 1670. And we think there's a Pepys connection here. Pepys, when he was Secretary of the Navy, was being trained by Sir Anthony Deane, who was a naval architect, about how ships are built and designed and run, and he owned models himself. And there's an illustration in his book about a ship of this dimension, so we're pretty sure that this model may have belonged to Sir Anthony Deane, in which case he would have trained Pepys about the design and shape of warships. So there is a lovely Pepys connection here. Samuel Pepys with his diaries of the 1660s, famous diarist.
Wow, that's an amazing connection. What a history.
Yeah.
And I love, again, all the detail with the gold leaf and the designs along the top. I mean,
So this is a contemporary model of about 1670. This is when the model was made. Very important, incredibly rare and quite fragile as well.
Is this your earliest model?
It's not our earliest, no, we've got earlier models, but this is probably one of the most important. They're all important, but I mean, this has got a really nice story to it, and the Pepys connection, which sort of, you get a connection with the public because they know Pepys as a sort of personality in the 17th century.
Thanks so much, Simon. It's been really fascinating, and I know we've only just touched the surface of the items you've got tucked away in here. Models like these can really help us understand the bigger vessels we're working with, the way they behave in the water and the key features of their design. I'll definitely be coming back here again when I've got a bit more time, and I'm sure there's many vessel owners who will want to do the same.
Absolutely. I mean, the good thing about this is it's a public collection, so it's available to view by appointment. So check our website for details.
What an amazing space.
Yes, this covered slipway was the heart of the dockyard, where ships were built and launched. It was designed by Sir Robert Steppings and thought to be Europe's largest wide-span timber structure at the time of its build.
The skills you could find in the dockyard are pretty mind-blowing. Shipwrights, joiners, riggers, blacksmiths, sailmakers. It must have been an incredible place to work.
And of course, these are exactly the type of skills we are trying to regenerate through our Shipshape Network, which was first set up back in 2010. Today we have 8 key zones across the UK and promote over 100 external maritime projects, with hub organisations acting as a nucleus in each area. And I'm pleased to launch the Historic Dockyard Chatham as the latest of our Shipshape Network hubs, acting as our ambassador along with Boathouse 4 for projects and vessels in the South East.
I'm proud that the Dockyard has been recognised as a Shipshape hub and look forward to working in partnership with National Historic Ships UK and Boathouse 4, our fellow hub for the South East based in the Solent. In our new role, we are here to connect local historic vessel projects, training schemes, businesses and enthusiasts, to share knowledge and build partnerships and raise the profile of maritime heritage. With the 3 larger historic vessels in our care, as well as a range of smaller craft, mobile heritage assets and the site itself, we have a broad range of skills around conservation and volunteering which we are keen to share. So I'm really excited about the opportunities that our new hub status will bring.
It's time for our Volunteer Awards, run in partnership with our sponsors, the Marsh Charitable Trust. These awards celebrate the huge contribution of the individuals and groups who volunteer in support of vessels on the National Register or our Shipshape Network projects. There are a number of contenders for this year's group award, but 2 applications really stood out for the judges, with volunteers who had contributed to every aspect of the organisation's work, from physical conservation to visitor services, promotional activities and overall management. The 2022 Group Award is therefore presented jointly to 2 winners. Firstly, to a team whose ship has relied on volunteer support since it was saved from sinking back in 1996, the restoration crew of the paddle steamer Maid of the Loch.
Hello from Paddle Steamer Maid of the Loch. We're delighted to have won the Marsh Award for Volunteers of the Year 2022. Yay! We see this as a tribute to our efforts to restore this historic paddle steamer on the spectacular location of Loch Lomond. The award comes after a particularly difficult period of time, and this will spur us on to complete our unique project. We would like to thank the judges, the Marsh Trust and National Historic Ships for recognising our achievements. Thank you.
The second award goes to a group which has achieved several key milestones in their conservation journey over the last 2 years, despite challenging times. The SS Fresh Spring Volunteers.
If we get one of his whole new stapling off till he's got rid of most of the crud.
Welcome aboard, and would you like to do a tour? And when you've done the tour, we've got a virtual reality show for you.
I look at things in an artistic way and I think, oh, that's a nice shape. I have no idea what it does. I take pictures, draw, and they can be used as Christmas cards.
I'm cleaning the brass plates to make them look nice and shiny.
Thank you Marsh Trust and National Historic Ships for this wonderful award in recognition of our amazing team of volunteers. The funds will be incredibly valuable to us, so thank you!
The individual Marsh Volunteer Award goes to someone who has become indispensable to the trust he volunteers with, taking responsibility for all aspects of maintenance and repair and making a trip to the vessel every day for over 2 months to pump her out when she developed a persistent leak. It's Ian Nicholson from the Swan Trust.
I am very honoured to have been chosen for this award. I am definitely out of my comfort zone at the moment. I prefer to be on the other side of the camera. I do feel a bit guilty. I am only one of a great many volunteers who do a great deal and are just as committed to keep the Swan and all the other classic and iconic boats going. Therefore, I would like to acknowledge all the volunteers who help care for these vessels and thank National Historic Ships UK and Marsh Charitable Trust for highlighting all our work. Like many, I don't do what I do for recognition or reward. My reward is seeing the look on a schoolchild or sail trainee's face as they take the helm as the vessel surges along in their sail, or as people, strangers, arrive on board, greeting each other politely at the start of a trip. and a week later gelled together, working as a team with friendships forged that last long after the trip was finished. Over the years, a great many school children have sailed on the Swan, thrilled by hauling up sails and steering. Many have come back as youth sail trainees to take part in the tall ships races, and experience those who take part in say it's one of the best things they will ever do. Several have also gone on to marine careers all around the world, their interest first sparked from their school trip on the Swan. I've also had the opportunity to visit some amazing places and meet some amazing people, including seeing a town partially covered with lava in the Western Isles in Iceland, and anchoring in a secluded fjord in the Lofoten Islands in Norway, seeing the sea eagles flying around the boat like seagulls. I would like to take this opportunity to pay tribute to the late Alistair Rindle, who passed away last year. I had known Alistair for a long time, and he was one of the original team who had the vision to return the Swan to Shetland, have it restored, and provide the means to give the young people in Shetland and further afield the chance to experience sailing. He also encouraged me to first become involved in working with the Swan, and I have never looked back. So, thank you to Alistair and to everyone I've met and worked with over the years, and look forward to working with friends old and new to continue to care for and sail our unique historic vessel, the Swan.
Now, I'd like to say a special congratulations to Barry Ford from the HMS Medusa Support Group, who has been recognised by the Marsh Charitable Trust for lifetime achievement, having joined the Medusa team 23 years ago after service with the Royal Navy and the Royal Navy Auxiliary Service. From engineer to officer of the watch and coxswain, Barry has taken on a variety of roles, and he's a key member of the Medusa crew. And finally, for this year's Marsh Awards, it's time to recognise a project within our Shipshape network, whose volunteer team has worked tirelessly to maintain the ship on public display in Bristol's floating harbour. With particular commendation to the outreach undertaken by the educational group, let's congratulate the volunteers of the MV Balmoral.
Up here in Bristol, not able to take passengers to sea. We're bringing school parties on board, community groups on board. They're building models of the ship, models of other ships. They're exploring the maritime heritage, and this ship forms a fantastic venue for education and community work here in Bristol. Fantastic. These guys deserve a really big round of applause for yourselves. Come on. Yay!
The MCT was founded in 1981 as a grant-making body by Brian Marsh, who is our current chairman. Since 1987, we have developed an award scheme to provide recognition to those who work to improve the world we live in. Recipients of the Marsh Awards are always people who make a difference by selflessly contributing their time and energy to causes that they believe in. Our awards with National Historic Ships form part of a larger scheme of over 100 awards that the Trust runs with external partners, spanning across heritage, social welfare, the arts and conservation. The Marsh Awards for Historic Vessel Conservation have been running since 2011 and recognise individuals and groups of volunteers who are working to ensure the conservation and preservation of historic vessels.
I absolutely love those volunteering stories, and it's so impressive the amount of hours and effort people have given. But now it's the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time to announce the winners of this year's Photographic Awards. And you'll probably notice something rather familiar behind me. Yes, it's the last year's shortlisted and winning images from National Historic Ships Photography Competition, which have been on display here at Chatham in a new exhibition since late June. What a perfect backdrop for the grand finale of tonight's show. First up, it's the massively popular People's Choice, where you, the public, had the chance to choose your favourite image on Instagram during the summer. And I think you made a great decision. The 2022 winner, with a whopping 275 votes, is Nick Harbon with his photo Off to Sea.
Hello, my name's Nick Harbon. I won the National Historic Ships Annual Award People's Choice for my photo Off to Sea of the Pelican of London from Seize Your Future. So a big thank you to Adrian, who allowed me to take the photos of the ship and put the drone up and take some video of it as well. A big thank you to everybody that voted for me. I only took up photography and drone photography in 2020 and 2021 respectively, so it's a huge honour, as I'm literally as amateur as it gets, so I'm entirely grateful, so thank you very much. Thank you.
Next, it's the Classic Boat Award for a photograph which most closely fits the ethos of the magazine. And this year, the highly commended Classic Boat Award goes to Shane Granger for his photo, Drifting with Friends. And the winner of the Classic Boat Award 2022, the recipient of a specially commissioned trophy and a subscription to the magazine, is Lucy Tulloch with the image Schooner Girl.
Hi, this is Lucy in Antigua. I wanted to say a big thank you to National Historic Ships for this award. Thank you too to Classic Boat for choosing my image. It's a magazine I love, so I look forward to the subscription, particularly on these distant shores. Schooner Girl was shot on the 43-metre schooner Columbia with an epic crew sailing in Antigua's classic yacht regatta in the roaring trade winds. Sailing conditions were fantastic, challenging for a photographer, inhospitable for camera equipment. So the accolade that this award brings is hugely appreciated. Thank you.
This year's winning photo in the classic boat category is called Schooner Girl by Lucy Tulloch, and we liked it a lot because it's one of those pictures you don't see all that often, where you wonder that the photographer wasn't swept away to sea, such as the size of that wave lit up racing away from the boat. It's a great photo, and I'm delighted to announce her as this year's winner. Well done, Lucy Tulloch.
The National Historic Ships Photography Competition is a fantastic way to reach new audiences, and the Newcomer of the Year award, with a £250 voucher prize, has seen more entries from newbies than ever before. The 2022 Newcomer of the Year award goes to Neil Holmes with the image Journey to the Big Refit.
Thank you to National Historic Ships UK Annual Awards for choosing me as the winner for the Newcomer category with my picture of the Arctic Corsair making its journey to its refit. The vessel is being transformed to its former glory and will be part of the Hull Yorkshire Maritime City project, where it will form a visitor attraction for many years to come. I'm thrilled to receive this award, and I hope viewers enjoy the photograph as much as I did taking it.
This year we asked you to suggest a theme for the competition. There were loads of great ideas on social media, but the one everyone loved best was journeys. I've been on a journey of my own over the last 5 years, rebuilding my boat Growler, and it's made me realise how inspirational these vessels can be. So it's great to see other people's journeys reflected in the winning entries tonight. Having been on the judging panel myself, I know there are some really tough decisions to be made, but I think they've done a brilliant job. These are the 12 fabulous images which have been chosen for the 2023 National Historic Ships UK calendar. January, River All Sunrise by Amanda Burgess. February, Life's Journey is Like the Tide. We Advance, We Retreat, We Repeat by Carl Draper. March, Narrowboats Enterprise No. 1 and Birchills on a journey along the Bradley arm of the Birmingham Canal Navigations by Kev Maslin. April, Schooner Girl by Lucy Tulloch. May, Off to Sea by Nick Harbon. June, Schooner to Vega Preparing to Depart Portimao by James Kenning. July, Indonesian Sunset by Shane Granger. August, Pioneer and Priscilla on the Colne by Sandy Miller. September, Journey to the Big Refit by Neil Holmes. October, Gloucester Tall Ships by Mark Harrison. November, Grey Fox's Last Resting Place by Alistair Jesson. December, P.S. Waverley's Last Journey of the Season by Graham Fanco. One image from all 500 entries will shortly be crowned our overall winner, scooping tonight's top prize of £500. But first, I want to say a big well done to the runner-up, who has been awarded a very well-deserved second place. The highly commended award for 2022 goes to Graham Fanco for his photo P.S. Waverley Last Journey of the Season. And now it's time to reveal the National Historic Ships UK Photographer of the Year 2022. This iconic image with its monotone colours was chosen as a striking reflection of a historic vessel in action. And the overall winner of tonight's Photographic Awards is Mark Sutherland for his photo of MGB 81.
Hello, what can I say? I'm deeply honoured to receive this award. I want to thank the judges selecting me. Also, congratulations to all the other winners and commiserations to those who perhaps didn't quite make it this time. Once again, really just thank you very, very much.
Hello, I'm Christian Topf, head judge of this year's National Historic Ships Photo Competition. It was a difficult task considering the many outstanding submissions we received this year, but after a lengthy discussion amongst the panel of judges, we collectively chose this great picture of MGB 81. We chose this image not only because of its unusual composition, atmosphere and technical execution, but also for its monochromatic colouring with its steely blue greys and brilliant highlights that contrast the deep shadows. We are all familiar with pictures of a vessel approaching bow on, but one does not often see such an impressive wake, which evidences raw power unleashed, as if the boat just passed the viewer at great speed. The moment is frozen in time by use of a fast shutter speed, and the whole scene reminds one of the original purpose of the vessel and the urgency of its former tasks as a naval patrol boat. Altogether, an outstanding contribution. We hope you will appreciate our choice of picture as much as we do.
Well, that's the formal end of tonight's awards. I hope you've enjoyed the evening as much as our watch party audience here. And congratulations again to all our winners, and I'll definitely be putting this year's calendar with those wonderful images up on the wall when I get home.
It's been a pleasure to host this event in Chatham, and I'd like to say a big thank you to the Dockyard Trust for allowing us to film here, as well as to our partners, the Marsh Charitable Trust and Classic Boat Magazine, the judges and our sponsors for their generous support. A huge amount of work goes on throughout the year to make these awards run smoothly. So I'd also like to thank the members of my own team, Ash Productions, our presenters, Ash Faire-Ring and Dan Snow, and of course our core funders, the Department of Digital, Culture, Media and Sport.
Don't forget to enter the 2023 Photography Competition when it comes out, and keep an eye out for next year's event, where National Historic Ships will be back with more historical vessels and another set of winners to celebrate.
I'd like to thank Hannah and Ash for being magnificent hosts and the team at the Historic Ships UK for their hard work in running this year's awards. That's the end of tonight's show, but do stay online to see all the shortlisted images from the photographic competition, followed by live interviews with the watch party audience, or join the chat on social media to congratulate the winners. Thanks again for watching, and have a great night.
Okay, go for it. Go.
There's a lorry over there. If that's what it is. There's a big dumper truck.
Sorry, can we speed this up a little bit?
June, one of the only two... Sorry, go again.
That bit's really annoying,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Preparing to depart Portimao. So first up, it's the... Whoa! There's no clapboard. Is it Ocelot or Ocelot? Ocelot, cool. The car ferry MV Glenhulish from the Highland... No. To structural analysis, laser and photogrammetry surveys. Oh, damn, I knew it. I knew it was 50-50. Python, cool.
Lovely collection, you're laughing at me. You're smiling.
We can do this all day. We can do this all day if you like.
For the no, not for the towns, for the teams. I think I messed up that end bit a bit. There's like a horn going off in the background.
The National Historic Ships Photography, by Kev Maslin. The Big Reel Refit by Neil Holmes.
Sorry.
I was ready to go there.